Good afternoon. My name is John Barea Rivera. On this video, I will be talking about a topic that concerns us greatly, which is the contamination, and also I will be presenting a couple of solutions to the problem. First of all, what is contamination? When we think about contamination, we associate it with the destruction of the environment. And yes, that is correct, but there is more to that explanation. Contamination is defined as the act of making something impure or unsuitable by contact with something unclean, bad, or toxic. There are different types of contamination that affect the environment, but on this presentation I'm going to focus on three types, which are the most common ones: water contamination, air contamination, and soil contamination. Water contamination occurs when the water bodies, such as lakes, rivers, or beaches, get contaminated. There are two broad categories for water contamination. One is the point sources and the other is the non-point sources. When we talk about point sources, we refer to contaminants that enter a water body from a single identifiable source, such as a pipe or ditch. Examples of sources in this category include discharges from a sewage treatment plant, a factory, or a city storm drain. Then we have the non-point sources, which refers to diffuse contamination that does not originate from a single discrete source. Non-point sources pollution is often the cumulative effect of small amounts of contaminants gathered from a large area. A common example is the leaching out of nitrogen compounds from fertilized agricultural lands, nutrient runoff in a storm water from sheet flow over an agricultural field or forest are also considered as examples of non-point sources pollution. The specific contaminants leading to pollution in water include a wide spectrum of chemicals, pathogens, and physical changes such as elevated temperature and discoloration. While many of the chemicals and substances that are regulated may be naturally occurring, such as calcium, sodium, iron, or manganese, but the concentration is often the key in determining what is a natural component of water and what is a contaminant. Obviously, this type of contamination has severe effects on our daily basis life. If we keep contaminating the waters, the flora and fauna that develops in water bodies are going to die. We will not be able to enjoy the water bodies for relaxation, for fun, and the fishing merchandise will cease to exist. Now, we're gonna talk about the air pollution. Air pollution is the introduction of particulates, biological molecules, and other harmful substances into Earth's atmosphere, causing disease, allergies, death to humans, damage to other living organisms such as animals and food crops, or the natural or built environment. Air pollution may come from anthropogenic or natural sources. An air pollutant is a substance in the air that can have adverse effects on humans and the ecosystem. The substance that can be solid particles, liquid droplets, or gases. A pollutant can be of natural origin or man-made. Pollutants are classified as primary or secondary. Primary pollutants are usually produced from a process, such as ash from a volcanic eruption. Other examples include carbon monoxide gas from motor vehicle exhaust, or the sulfur dioxide released from factories. Secondary pollutants are not emitted directly. Rather, they form in the air when primary pollutants react or interact. Ground level ozone is a prominent example of a secondary pollutant. Some pollutants may be both primary and secondary. They're both emitted directly and formed from other primary pollutants. Major primary pollutants produced by human activity include sulfur oxides, nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, volatile organic compounds, particulates, persistent free radicals, toxic metals such as lead and mercury, chlorofluorocarbons, ammonia, odors such as from garbage, sewage, and industrial processes, radioactive pollutants. Secondary pollutants include ground level ozone and peroxyacetyl nitrate. There are various locations in which are responsible for releasing pollutants into the atmosphere. These sources can be classified into two major categories: anthropogenic sources that are man-made. These are mostly related to the burning of multiple types of fuels. Stationary sources include smokestacks of power plants, manufacturing facilities, and waste incinerators, as well as furnaces and other types of fuel-burning heating devices. In developing and poor countries, traditional biomass burning is the major source of air pollutants. Traditional biomass includes wood, crop, waste, and dung. Mobile sources include motor vehicles, marine vessels, and aircraft. Controlled burn practices in agriculture and forest management. Controlled or prescribed burning is a technique sometimes used in forest management, farming, prairie restoration, or greenhouse gas abatement. Fire is a natural part of both forest and grassland ecology, and controlled fire can be a tool for foresters. Controlled burning stimulates the germination of some desirable forest trees, thus renewing the forest. Fumes from paint, hairspray, varnish, aerosol sprays, and other solvents. Waste deposition in landfills which generate methane. Methane is a highly flammable and may form explosive mixtures with air. Methane is also an asphyxiant and may displace oxygen in an enclosed space. Asphyxia or suffocation may result if the oxygen concentration is reduced to below 19.5% by displacement. And military resources, such as nuclear weapons, toxic gases, germ warfare, and rocketry. Now for the natural sources, we have dust. Natural sources, usually large areas of land with little or no vegetation. Methane emitted by the digestion of food by animals, for example cattle. Radon gas from radioactive decay within the Earth's crust. Radon is a colorless, odorless, naturally occurring radioactive noble gas that is formed from the decay of radium. It is considered to be a health hazard. Radon gas from natural sources can accumulate in buildings, especially in confined areas such as the basement, and is the second most frequent cause of lung cancer after cigarette smoking. Smoke and carbon monoxide from wildfires. Vegetation in some regions emits environmentally significant amount of volatile organic compounds on warmer days. These volatile organic compounds react with primary anthropogenic pollutants, specifically NO2, SO2, and anthropogenic organic carbon compounds, to produce a seasonal haze of secondary pollutants. Black gums, poplar, oak, and willow are some examples of the vegetation that can produce abundant volatile organic compounds. The volatile organic compounds production from these species result in ozone levels up to 8 times higher than the low-impact tree species, and volcanic activity, which produces sulfur, chlorine, and ash particulates. This type of air pollution contains a lot of health effects: mortality, cardiovascular disease, lung disease, cancer, and central nervous systems. Now we're going to talk about the soil pollution. Soil pollution is when the soil gets contaminated and produce degradation of the land. Soil pollution can be caused by the following: oil drilling, mining and activities by other heavy industries, accidental spills as may happen during activities, corrosion of underground storage tanks, acid rain, intensive farming, agrochemicals such as pesticides, herbicides, and fertilizers, industrial accidents, road debris, drainage of contaminated surface water into the soil, waste disposal of oil and fuel dumping, nuclear wastes, direct discharge of industrial wastes to the soil, landfill and illegal dumping, coal ash, electronic waste, ammunitions. Soil contaminants can have a significant deleterious consequences for ecosystems. There are radical soil chemistry changes which can arise from the presence of many hazardous chemicals even at low concentration of the contaminant species. These changes can manifest in the alteration of metabolism of endemic microorganisms and arthropods resident in a given soil environment. The result can be virtual eradication of some of the primary food chain, which in turn could have major consequences for predator or consumer species. Even if the chemical effect on the lower life forms is small, the lower pyramid levels of the food chain may ingest alien chemicals which normally become more concentrated for each consuming rung of the food chain. Now that I have talked about the types of contamination and their effects, I'm going to present the problem, which is that all of these effects become more common throughout the year and keep increasing in numbers. This concerns us greatly because if we let the situation how it is in a significant period of time, we will destroy completely the earth in which we live. There are better ways to run the world without contaminating the environment. The solution that I'm gonna present first is easy and generic. Start with recycling. Stop throwing garbage out of the trash can. Start making compound. Those are general and most easy solutions. More specific solution would be for water pollution. We have to stop the industries from disposing their waste and other toxins in the water bodies. They should recycle it and use it for running an alternative energy source and other applications. For air pollution, we should make industries, cars, and any other toxins produced by man filtered before entering the atmosphere. And finally, for soil contamination is the easiest one. The main focus in this solution is to stop damaging the soil by throwing garbage and other contaminants to the ground. There is a better way, I know so. I just need a little collaboration of everyone to make the earth a better place. Thank you.